welcome back to YouTube. This is my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. If you're following me right now, I'm AspieAnswersAll, and I'm all about creating mental health awareness as well as sharing my life stories with basically my conditions and hopefully taking you on a journey of what life is like, sort of thing, as I share anything that is so personal and close to my heart, as well as basically just everyday tips and advice of what we go through in our lives. Hopefully that will be of help to you and support to you. Basically right now, I have decided to basically try and introduce you all to some of the mental health awareness series playlisting that I missed out on, which at the moment is currently Intrusive Thoughts, which hopefully you'll gain a better understanding to how it works, what it is, and everything else that it will cover. So as I said so many times before, many of these series that I have introduced to you all, based on the mental health series especially, basically we'll go step by step in a certain order. Hopefully that will, as you follow through, will be easier and to understand, and just hopefully just maybe some bits that will be of help to you. But bear in mind also, before I continue though, with this in mind, that you gotta bear in mind that there are certain signs and symptoms that it comes along the way with, like any other mental illnesses and disorders that is out there. So if you see any clinical classic signs and symptoms that I share with you, all based on these everyday mental illnesses, disorders, and other conditions that I hope to address, basically seek help for yourself or for your loved one, or hopefully maybe find ways to actually see if they can actually seek help for themselves. Even though, like I said before, I'm no Joe Blogs, I'm just sharing my everyday stories. So anything that I say you feel uncomfortable or you feel a second opinion, please feel free to do so. Or if you feel some of these videos as you're watching these ain't for you, by all means, choice is yours. You can go to another channel, no harm done and whatnot. So no further ado though, basically I'm going to talk about the different types, hopefully, of intrusive thoughts, basically, as there are many different types, but I'm going to actually address them into different categories here, just really short and brief, so that you can actually understand it all, because as we know, there are different types of intrusive thoughts that will be addressed soon in these series. So generally, intrusive thoughts will fall into some of these categories that I'm sharing with you all. Number one is your unwanted memories. These are often considered as an intrusive thought in a medical sense, with many people that experience from PTSD or experience persistent unwanted memories from that PTSD disorder, which these are the type people that are especially prone to these types of memories. But anyone who may have that memory that causes them significant distress, however, and those with anxiety are more likely to have that memory pop up at unwanted times and unwanted intervals throughout the time. Sometimes also, basically, we've got to bear in mind though that regardless of that, it can stem off, as I shared earlier in the piece, if you've been following, about like especially an anxiety, basically, of your traumatic experiences, what you've been through, basically, as well as just maybe just thought patterns that you've been feeding upon on that cycle after of that classical example I shared of either, for example, you've been abused by your partner versus sexually violated with your family member or partner as well, basically, and that it just stems off of these thoughts. Okay, another one of this basically is number two, your violent thoughts. Thoughts of violence and aggression may also be common in those with some types of anxiety that comes under play with the intrusive thoughts. As I said, different forms of anxiety will, go about with this. And that this can also ring true, especially for those that suffers from OCD, or the actual clinical term, if you want it fully addressed out, as obsessive compulsive disorders. With these thoughts, however, with the person, they will imagine themselves doing violent, aggressive things towards their loved one, which in turn they don't mean to act upon it or think upon it. It's just something right in their brain, basically, like anything, a chemical imbalance, obviously, and that they do love their loved one, but it's just sometimes it can be really scary to the point that they need to do something about it. However, one could consider worries about danger happening to other people to be violent thoughts as well. Last but not least is your sexual thoughts. Like violent thoughts, however, with the person, that they can have unwanted sexual thoughts. Sometimes these sexual thoughts are paired with religious induced shame, while other times the sexual thoughts may also be somewhat violent in nature. These are also more common with those with the different type of anxiety disorders that I'm going to address in the piece of these. Hopefully, still any thought that comes into an appropriate time may be considered an intrusive thought. Those with phobias may randomly experience a flash of the object that caused them fear, and in some cases thought to be considered intrusive. Okay, basically, I'm going to quickly share briefly, hopefully, in the next piece over, if you're following me, about how different anxiety disorders will may experience intrusive thoughts. So basically that ends the part of the types or categories of intrusive thoughts right now. Give me the like for thumbs up for support. Thanks for the ones that are supporting me right now. Basically, I appreciate it. Thanks for your comments and all that. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, AspieAnswersAll. Feel free to private message me on there if you need someone to talk to, or just maybe feel free to just share some stories or what have you that you feel you want to address, no matter what it may be. So what I'm going to do what you love what you do, love one another, be kind to yourself. Until next time, and have a great day.